The entire cabin went silent the moment he grabbed her boarding pass. Not because anyone thought he was allowed to, but because of how confident he looked doing it. Flight attendants froze in the aisle. Passengers turned their heads over leather seats. A businessman in row 2 lowered his laptop slowly. Anne, seated calmly in 2A, dressed in a tailored navy blazer with noise-canceling headphones resting around her neck, was a black woman who looked entirely unbothered by the chaos forming around her. Her name was Danielle Brooks. And in less than 15 minutes, the man standing over her would lose far more than his seat upgrade. "You're in the wrong section," the man said sharply. He held her boarding pass between 2 fingers like it offended him personally. His name was Gregory Whitman. Mid-50s. Expensive watch. Corporate confidence. The kind of face built from decades of assuming rules were decorative suggestions. Danielle slowly removed one headphone. "I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be." Gregory gave a short laugh. "No, you're not." He waved the boarding pass in the air. "First class is full fare priority seating." Danielle blinked once. "Yes." Gregory leaned closer, lowering his voice just enough to make it more insulting. "So economy is that way." He pointed behind him toward the back of the aircraft. Several nearby passengers exchanged uncomfortable looks. A younger woman in 3C visibly cringed. Danielle extended her hand calmly. "My boarding pass, please." Gregory ignored her request. Instead, he flagged down a flight attendant. "Excuse me." A blonde attendant approached carefully. "Yes, sir." Gregory held up Danielle's pass dramatically. "This woman is sitting in my section." Danielle folded her hands in her lap. "Correction." She folded them like someone settling in for entertainment. The attendant glanced at the boarding pass, then at Danielle, then back at the screen in her hand. "Sir, Ms. Brooks is assigned to seat 2A. Gregory frowned. "That's impossible." "It is not impossible," Danielle said quietly. A few passengers suppressed smiles. Gregory turned back to the attendant, now visibly irritated. "Well, clearly there's been some kind of mistake." "There has not," the attendant replied professionally. Gregory lowered his voice again, though not enough. "Look, I fly this route every month." As if frequent miles granted constitutional authority. "This seat arrangement makes no sense." Now the cabin tension changed. Everyone understood exactly what he meant. Not that the seat assignment was wrong, but that Danielle sitting there offended his internal hierarchy. Danielle looked out the window for a moment, almost bored. Los Angeles shimmered outside beneath a warm sunset. Private jets rested in the distance. Ground crew moved like tiny chess pieces. She checked her watch. Still 23 minutes before departure. Plenty of time for Gregory to ruin his week. The attendant tried once more. "Sir, your seat is 4C. Gregory laughed. "Absolutely not." Now he crossed his arms. "I paid for first class." "No," the attendant corrected. "You were upgraded to premium economy." That sentence hit Gregory like bad stock news. "What?" Passengers nearby immediately became more interested. He snatched his own boarding pass from his jacket pocket. Checked it. Then checked it again harder, as if intimidation could alter printed ink. "This is ridiculous." Danielle finally looked up at him fully. "You seem to be having a difficult day." A few audible laughs escaped nearby seats. Gregory's jaw tightened. "This is none of your business." Danielle smiled faintly. "You made it everyone's business when you tried relocating me." The businessman in row 2 coughed into his fist to hide laughter. Gregory turned red. Not embarrassed enough to stop. Only embarrassed enough to escalate. He pointed at Danielle. "You know what this is?" Dangerous question. Danielle raised one eyebrow. "An airline manifest. This is preferential nonsense." There it was. The entire cabin could practically feel the lawsuit materializing in the oxygen. A man across the aisle whispered, "Oh no." Even the flight attendant stiffened. "Sir, I need you to lower your voice." But Gregory was fully committed now. Some people climb mountains. Others sprint toward professional extinction. Gregory belonged firmly in Category 2. Danielle leaned back into her seat. Still calm. Still composed. Still entirely too relaxed for a woman currently being publicly challenged by a stranger with the self-awareness of expired yogurt. "You should really stop talking," Danielle said softly. Gregory laughed. "Or what?" "Wrong question." "Again." Danielle tilted her head slightly. "You work for Whitman Global Logistics, correct?" Gregory froze. "Just briefly. But enough." "How do you know that?" Danielle glanced at the logo embossed on his laptop bag resting under the overhead bin. Not subtle branding. Not subtle, man. Gregory narrowed his eyes. "What does that have to do with anything?" Danielle reached into her handbag and removed a slim black leather portfolio. No sudden movements, no drama, just precision. She opened it slowly and removed an identification badge. Gold lettering, executive clearance strip, corporate insignia. She held it up just enough for Gregory to read. His face changed instantly, like someone had unplugged his ego from a power source. Danielle Brooks, Chief Executive Officer, Whitman Global Holdings. Not logistics, holdings, parent company. The company above all his companies. The company that owned his division, and by extension, his paycheck. No one breathed, not dramatically. Actually, people literally stopped moving. Gregory stared at the badge like it had personally betrayed him. No. Danielle slid it back into her portfolio. Yes, a passenger in 3B whispered. Holy hell. The flight attendant covered her mouth slightly. Gregory stepped backward so fast he nearly collided with an armrest. This must be some kind of misunderstanding. Danielle gave him the same expression surgeons use before bad news. It isn't. Gregory's voice changed completely. Gone was the arrogance. Gone was the authority. Gone was the imaginary throne he built from entitlement and travel points. Ms. Brooks, I had no idea. Danielle nodded once. That is precisely the problem. That line landed beautifully. Sharp enough to cut glass. Passengers openly smiled now. The social reversal was complete. Gregory attempted damage control. I apologize if I came across incorrectly. Danielle almost laughed. That single word did more damage than a speech ever could. Gregory swallowed hard. The flight attendant suddenly became very interested in pretending not to witness corporate execution. Danielle opened her phone calmly. Tapped once, then twice. Gregory looked alarmed. What are you doing? Danielle didn't look up. Solving an HR issue before takeoff. Gregory's face lost whatever color remained. No, please, let's discuss this privately. Danielle locked her phone. Too late. She looked up at him. Voice calm enough to be terrifying. You publicly profiled a fellow passenger, attempted to remove her from her assigned seat, challenged airline staff, and then doubled down repeatedly. She paused. That would already be embarrassing. Another pause. But doing it to your CEO. A nearby passenger muttered. Career suicide. Accurate. Very accurate. Gregory's mouth opened. No useful words arrived. Danielle gestured politely toward the aisle. I believe your upgraded seat is in premium economy. Laughter broke out across first class. Real laughter this time. Not nervous, not restrained. The kind that says a social lesson has just been beautifully delivered. Gregory stood there for another painful second before collecting his things. Humiliation dripping off him heavier than luggage fees. As he turned away, Danielle added one final sentence. Oh, Gregory. He stopped. Didn't turn around. When we land, don't bother coming into the office tomorrow. Silence detonated. Even the engines outside suddenly felt quieter. Gregory slowly turned back. Eyes wide. You can't be serious. Danielle gave a small polite smile. I take workplace culture very seriously. Done. Finished. Cooked professionally at 30,000 feet before takeoff. Gregory was escorted toward row 4 under the full witness protection program of public shame. As he disappeared behind the curtain, the cabin released collective tension like a held breath. The businessman in row 2 raised his champagne glass slightly toward Danielle. Well played. Danielle smiled. Thank you. The flight attendant leaned closer. Ms. Brooks, can we offer you anything before departure? Danielle settled back into her seat. Yes. She glanced briefly toward premium economy. I'd love sparkling water. Pause. And a very peaceful flight. A few passengers laughed again. By the time the plane took off, Gregory Whitman had lost more than dignity. He lost access, authority, and a career he spent 20 years building. All because he saw a black woman in first class and assumed she needed correction. But some seats aren't assigned by luck. Some are earned. And some come with the power to end your employment before the beverage service begins. Justice doesn't always wait until landing. Sometimes it boards first class too.